Today I'm at Wine Connection in Sukhumvit Soy 47 and I'm meeting James Newman, British writer, and I'll be talking to James about his life as a writer in Bangkok. Let's go talk to James. Hi James, thanks for being on the show. As a British writer, what brought you to Thailand?
I arrived in Thailand September 2011 and I was just a backpacker. I travelled through India, worked in Bollywood for a while, went to Nepal, went to Malaysia, Singapore, all around the region, and Bangkok was like the hub of Southeast Asia, like the London of Europe. You know, you had to go there to get anywhere else. And I travelled through so many times and grew to love the place so much that I decided that it was a good place to call as a base to work from.
How many books have you got to date?
Well, standalone novels and novel length works, I think about 9 or 10. And I've also done a lot of short stories, anthologies, that sort of thing. I actually started out writing short stories. They grew and grew, and then I found homes for them in various books. But the main series, this Joe Dillon series, there's 3 here, but there's actually 4 and another one that we're working on, so there's 5 in that series.
Great. And tell me a little bit about Big Pulp. Because this was one of the first outings you had as a writer, wasn't it?
Well, it's the first genre, really. I used to write a lot of pulp stories, and pulp is can be about anything. It can be science fiction, it can be horror, it can be crime, but it's stories in the kind of 1950s American tradition of stories that are just told very quickly. They have adventure, they have action. So I used to write a lot of pulp stuff. I still do. Pulp's really my favorite genre because it's so versatile. But these guys are more kind of crime rather than pulp, noir crime.
Oh, great. And where in Bangkok do you find your inspiration?
Well, I wouldn't say where as much as kind of when. I like to travel around Bangkok very early in the morning. I think Bangkok, 5 o'clock in the morning is just the perfect time.
While most people are sleeping.
Everyone's sleeping, it's cooler, the roads aren't as busy, and I like to take the public bus and go around from Bang Na all the way across to to Silom, somewhere like this, through Rama 4, and you get to see all these strange things unraveling. People out from the night before, people starting the day, and a lot of my ideas come from these journeys around the city.
You would see things that would inspire a story, or end up as part and characters.
You'd find characters, you'd find ideas, you're wondering about people's history and where they're going.
Bangkok has a lot of characters, and I'm sure some of them have ended up in books.
Most of them,
James, the White Flamingo, it's a really interesting story. How did that come about? Tell me a little bit about the story.
Sure, okay. Well, the first 2 books were, the first one and the second one were both set in Bangkok, and I really got into the kind of nitty-gritty of the city. And for the third outing, for the detective Joe Dillon in the White Flamingo, I thought that I would maybe create a new place for him to go other than Bangkok. And using one of the coastal towns in Bangkok and Bangkok itself, I created a place called Fun City. Now, Fun City is not really that fun. You know, a lot of
wasn't Paragon.
I mean, there's crime going on. There's it's a noir city, which Joe Dillon is. He's there as a kind of like Rick in Casablanca. He can't really escape the city, but he helps people who want to escape the city, and he's kind of a tour guide around that city.
Sort of caught up in it.
Yeah. So, and I'd read and I'd written another book called Itchy Park about the Whitechapel murders in London, 1888, which is Jack the Ripper. And I did, for want of a better word, a hell of a lot of research about the Ripper. And then I thought, what if we had a Jack the Ripper style murder in Fun City, in this fictional town? Because it was often said that the Ripper was from the west of London. He went to the east of London where the murders occurred because he couldn't find that kind of,
It's a bit posh on the
Yeah,
on the east.
it's for want of a better word. Yeah, it's a bit posher west. And then I thought on a global scale, maybe you've got the Western tourists who believe they're coming from a richer place, coming to Asia or coming to Fun City, an Asian city, and having their way in this area. And Joe Dillon, the hero, has to find this killer before he marks off the victims one by one.
Yeah.
So it was a new idea for me to have a fictional place, but grounded in Thailand in a way.
Yeah. Did you find this fictional place in the suburbs of Bangkok?
Well, the suburbs of Chonburi. To be honest.
So there you go. If you want to find some weird and new wonderful places in Bangkok, Chonburi is the place,
Yeah.
which is a little bit outside
A little
Bangkok.
satellite
actually. Yeah.
kind of suburb of Bangkok. Yeah.
Because it'd be nice actually to go on tour in Bangkok and visit some of the places in your books, because a lot of them actually, whilst might have different names and stuff, that actually exist.
Sure. Yeah. We play around with locations and names. You know, a lot of people try to. When they read the book, it's like a game if they can discover what that place is based on, and and readers like that.
A great book. Things have changed over the years with writing and publishing, traditional ways of publishing books, becoming a writer and getting published, now self-publishing, and now we have ebooks.
Sure.
How has that affected you as a published writer, entering the ebook world?
The electronic publication of reading material, books, has been with us a while now, and I think it's only, it's comparable to the printing press, which came around, again around Jack the Ripper's time, actually, 1888. The Ripper murders was the first national news story because the printing press was in operation in London at that time. But since the printing press, we've had the pulp book generation I spoke about earlier. So rather than books going straight to hardcover, they would go to these soft cover, kind of almost disposable volumes, pulp fiction books.
Almost like magazine distribution.
Really like small magazines. And then we had the paper book generation, then we had, we have ebooks. And they're environmentally friendly, they cost less to manufacture, there's no waste, only what's seen is bought. So I think it's probably a good thing for writers, and it's a good thing for some writers who wouldn't necessarily have their material published. Now they have a chance at publication. So rather than an author hitting his head against the wall and just saying there's no point, I won't get published, now they can explore other avenues, including self-publication.
There's many vehicles and mechanisms to release your books now.
Yeah, it's just a lot easier, for better or worse. I mean, some people will argue that there's just too much splurge of lesser material of a lesser quality.
What is the weirdest thing you've come across or one of in your travels, very early mornings in Bangkok, that's either could inspire you? End up in one of your books.
So many things. I mean, the early morning, as I say, is kind of my thinking time. It's my me time. I've got a family at home. I've got a job I go to, and often I have my kind of creative, fictional mind ticking away. And this morning, in fact, I was waiting for the bus to come. It was 5:30 in the morning, and there's one bus pulled up. I'm at the bus stop. I'm standing here, and some guy is leaned out of the window of the bus. He's a foreigner, long hair, about 65. Hair's crazy. It's like this. He's got a super dry T-shirt on, and he's leaning out the bus, waving at me. And I'm kind of cautious of people like this.
Nick Fleetwood, wasn't it?
In the morning, yeah. Could well have been. Is he in town? But. So I kept my distance, and as the bus pulled away, he pointed at me and pointed at the sky like this. And anyway, I let it go, just another Bangkok crazy. And then I got the next bus, and I'm sitting there thinking, what if this guy knows something I don't? What if he's from another dimension? What if he's a time traveler? What if the planet that he came from is experiencing a water shortage? hence the T-shirt. So these are the kind of things, you know, it's not that weird, but it could have been, or it could be, and it still might be, and it might become another book. We never know.
The mind of James Newman. James, before we go, what's your advice for new writers coming into the business, you know, trying to get started?
Good question. Read a lot, read a hell of a lot, and read in many genres, many different types of books. I think if you don't read maybe novel-length work once every week for 10 years, you probably haven't had enough reading. And enjoy the process. Yeah. You really have to enjoy the process. It's like, you know, it's like playing a musical instrument. If you don't enjoy it, you won't become an expert at it. Yeah. You know, if a child is practicing scales, you know, he's playing a violin because they have to practice in any given time, they're not going to
tend to get pushed away from it.
Yeah, I mean, you only get good at something if you love doing it. And apart from that, it's just practical things. I mean, I find I can only work the first 3 or 4 hours after I wake up. The alpha brain waves are moving. Yeah. So try and get work done early if you can. Try and master the short story before going on to longer works. Don't drink alcohol, don't drink coffee when you're working, don't smoke cigarettes, because if you do, you have to do that every time you hit the desk. So be disciplined, write as much as you can. I mean, I wrote 10 novel-length works, each one has 100,000 words in it. That's a lot of work. Maybe I don't use 100,000, maybe I throw away 50,000, I use 50, that's 1,000,000 words.
Work it, rework it.
You know, so you probably have to write 1,000,000 words before you get to the stage where you're feeling really comfortable with your art. So just keep writing, keep reading, and
so a lot of work goes into it, and focus, and obviously passion, and you've certainly got a passion. Where can people buy your books?
We spoke about Amazon, didn't we? Yeah, on Amazon. I think you can buy direct from the publisher, actually, www.spankingpolepress.com. You can find the books there, both the print copies and the ebook copies, or you can buy online at Amazon or all the other distributors. I forget the name, Cook and Barnes and Noble, etc.
You've got quite a large fan base now. Where is predominantly your biggest fan base?
It kind of changes. I try and gauge it through looking at my blog, which I send out like once a week, and I have a lot of traffic from all across the world. And the US is normally up there, America's well represented, France, and then bizarre places like, not bizarre, but smaller countries, Latvia and Estonia, and larger countries such as Ukraine, Russia. I get a lot of readers from Russia, and some Middle Eastern readers as well. So it really is a whole. It's a whole kind of.
Quite global.
It's a wide range from.
It's
from
amazing
all across.
the reach it has. Anything coming up for any of your books on TV?
Well, I optioned The White Flamingo. So I signed a movie option for this last July.
Congratulations, wow.
And we're looking at exercising the option. I wrote the screenplay, so the screenplay's been written, and the filmmaker is looking into pitching for finance to go into production proper. So that will be hopefully a nice kind of promotion for this series.
That's great. Congratulations.
But you never know if these things happen. So
that's right.
If it does, it's a bonus. If not, it doesn't. So.
It's fantastic, James. We wish you all the best of luck with all your books and the TV. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me,
James.
Cheers.
All right, talk to you later. James Newman.